We wanted to celebrate Mother's Day. We went to Cantina Tequila in Henderson, Nevada. Hi, I have over 20 years experience working with customer journey maps and defining customer experiences that drive revenue. What service opportunities will we uncover? More importantly, and the only thing that really matters, will I be back? You won't see any of my footage from inside the dining room, and that's intentional. I'm not here to embarrass a server having a bad night or make anyone uncomfortable on camera. I'm here to document the journey and let the experience speak for itself. One more thing before we get into it. I am not a food reviewer. There are plenty of channels for that. I'm here for the service delivery, the experience that surrounds the food. Upon arrival, we had no issues getting in. Our first human contact came at the host stand, greeted with words but no smile. We were 8 minutes early, so waiting was expected and completely reasonable. No complaints there. On the way to the restroom, I'll tell you about the restroom in a little bit, I passed through the back dining room. Half the tables were empty, and a handful of those still had dirty dishes sitting from the previous guests. This is on Mother's Day at 6:30 p.m. That's not a server problem. That's a floor management problem. Someone's job on the busiest dining day of the year is to own that dining room visually. Nobody was doing that tonight. Now, about that restroom, you need to see it to believe it. Motion sensor, pre-recorded charo, I'll leave it at that. Once our table was ready, the hostess found us and again greeted us with words. That's it. No smile, no warmth, no sense that she was glad we chose to spend our Mother's Day there. And here's why that matters. The hostess or host is the first and only moment in the entire experience where the restaurant controls the narrative completely. The kitchen might be backed up, the server might be overwhelmed, and as a guest, you're not going to see any of that yet. But the greeting, that's a choice every single time. A smile costs nothing, and it sets the tone for everything that follows. This one was a miss. Cantina was giving away roses to the mothers in the parties that were booked for dinner. Genuinely a lovely touch when it's executed. Every woman of motherly age at the surrounding tables received a rose. The mother in my party did not. It did become a topic of conversation before we even looked at the menu. And this is the danger of a surprise and delight program with inconsistent execution. No rose is neutral. A rose for everyone else and not you? It's a negative. You've taken something designed to create a positive memory and turned it into a point of confusion and mild embarrassment. Consistency is not optional when you're in the business of making people feel special. I'll come back to this. Our server came to the table with a genuine smile, immediately better energy than the front door. Then she did something I don't see enough of. Before taking a single order, she told us exactly what was coming and in what order. Water, chips, and salsa first, drink order after. That's not an accident. That's a trained behavior called expectation setting, and it's one of the most effective tools in service delivery. When a guest knows what's coming next, they stop wondering and start relaxing. She managed our patience before we even knew we needed managing. That's a win, and it's worth calling out. Chips and salsa arrived, drinks arrived, no silverware, no napkin, on a table with a teenage boy and a cup of salsa. She mixed up the Diet Coke with the regular Coke, which is a small thing. There's a straw trick in the industry for exactly this situation. It was not deployed tonight. We sorted it out, life went on, but small things compound. The food came out in a reasonable time, no complaints on the kitchen. The runner got confused about which table he was serving. It happens. But then he volunteered that he'd been there since 9 a.m. and wasn't getting off until 9 p.m. Dude, that is not my monkey, not my circus. Every employee on the floor is a brand ambassador, whether they know it or not. And it's the management's job to make sure they do know it. Oversharing personal frustrations at a guest table transfers your bad day onto the guest experience. A guest at Cantina Tequila on Mother's Day is not your therapist. Keep that stuff behind the curtain. The atmosphere. Here's where Cantina Tequila really earns it. The more you drink, the more the place comes alive. The visual stimulation is a lot, and I mean a lot, but it's intentionally fun. The dining room TVs were showing what I can only describe as psychedelic imagery, and I genuinely feel sorry for anyone who indulges in the parking lot before walking in. They might not know what they're getting into. Tonight's playlist was 80s, Lost in Emotion, into Out of Touch, into You Spin Me Round, into Rock Me Amadeus. In my opinion, good stuff. Now, if you're not familiar with Walter Mercado, and if you didn't grow up in a Latino household, you might not be, this man reached over 120 million viewers daily at his peak. He owned 1,500 hand-painted Swarovski crystal-covered capes. This man was a walking art installation. Walk into Cantina Tequila and suddenly the psychedelics, the colors, the whole sensory overload, it all makes perfect sense. This place isn't random, it's a tribute. Here's what I want operators to take away from this. The atmosphere at Cantina Tequila is a deliberate, thought-through, committed concept. Somebody made a real decision about what this place looks, sounds, and feels like. That kind of intentionality is rare and it's hard to execute. When you walk in, you know exactly where you are. That's a win. The physical experience has a genuinely high bar, which is exactly why the human experience gaps hurt even more when they show up. We paid at the table on a mobile device while our server stood by as I entered the tip. Awkward for everyone involved. There's a better way to handle the payment moment. Leave the device, give the guest privacy, come back to close it out. Standing there watching someone decide what to tip you was uncomfortable for both parties. Then we were on our way out. Now, I promised I'd come back to the rose situation. After my party walked out, I hung back and approached the hostess directly. I asked her about it. Told her I noticed every mother at the surrounding tables received one except the mother in my party. She stumbled a bit, then said, "Did I not give you one?" No, you didn't, and that's kind of what I was wondering about. Now, to her credit, she did offer me one, but right there at the door on the way out. The window had closed. The surprise and delight moment was over. This is the most important moment of the entire visit, and not because of the rose. It's because she had a recovery opportunity and didn't know what to do with it. Service recovery is a skill. Acknowledging the miss, owning it genuinely, and doing something meaningful about it can actually leave a guest feeling better than if nothing went wrong in the first place. A wilted offer at the exit isn't recovery. It's a reminder. 2 wins, 4 fails. The food is great. The atmosphere is genuinely fun and clearly intentional, but the experience is built on a human foundation, and that foundation was uneven tonight. The fails weren't catastrophic. They were the kind of small, consistent gaps that add up to a guest who leaves feeling like they were processed rather than hosted. On one of the busiest dining days of the year, that's a missed opportunity at scale. Some of these fails belong to the individuals who delivered them. Some belong to the leadership team that didn't build the system. Often, it's both. Either way, the guest feels it the same way. Here's what I know after 20 plus years. You can't manage what you don't inspect. Walk your floor. Not as a manager, but as a guest. Sit in the dining room. Watch your host from the bar. Follow the journey from the parking lot to the check. What you find in 20 minutes will tell you more than any comment card ever will. The dirty tables in the back dining room were visible to every guest who walked to the restroom tonight. Were they visible to management? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a job. To the employees, you own your execution. The server who set expectations at the table proved that tonight. One person, same shift, same chaos, different result. Ownership shows. To the managers and operators, none of this is unfixable. A smile at the door, a system for the Rose program, a quick team huddle before service about what not to say at the table. These are training conversations, not personality transplants, but only if someone is paying attention. Will I be back? Not on my own accord. If someone suggests, I won't decline, but my expectations will be low.